Podcast with Jackson Bast. I'm Kevin Paulus, McKaylee Miller on assignment elsewhere, getting married, as a matter of fact, Jackson.
Yeah, no, it's been counting down. I have to get my attire. She wants everybody to dress in black, so I have to buy a suit. So if anybody has any recommendations, if this comes out before Sunday, I'm always open to hear. I'm not opposed to Men's Warehouse, but I am a Belk super saver. So
And my invitation was lost in the mail, so congratulations to you. Let's talk a little bit about MBU athletics. We were talking about this before we came on. A pretty busy week in athletics, maybe not the most successful, but we did have some good stories as we have a regional doubles champion at the ITA Central East Regional this week.
yeah, the young duo. I say young duo. They're not a young duo. There's some veterans for that team. I can't.
Sebastian Jungins and Luca da Silva Ebenrader.
Yeah, and like we were talking about before the podcast, it was a big bounce back for Luca. You know, he fell tragically in the quarterfinals in that singles during the same stuff, but he bounced back. He looks good, and the pair is headed up to South Bend to not too far outside of Notre Dame University of Notre Dame.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Whichever. Yeah, Sebastian made it all the way to the semis in singles as well, so a really good tournament for him. And like you said, they earned a berth into the ITA Cup and a little bit as well. Women, not quite as successful. They had three doubles teams make it to the quarterfinals, but not a lot to write home about as far as the individual results were concerned. So that's tennis. That was a high note with the regional doubles champs. Let's talk a little bit about the men's golf program. They had a pretty good week as well. I know you and Mac talked about it a little bit because you were recording the podcast on Tuesday when they were out there on the course, but they ended up finishing 4th out of 21 at the NAIA National Preview up in Silva, Illinois.
Yeah, St. Ambrose hosted a good tournament. Later in the podcast, we'll get to hear a little bit more from Coach Hoagland, but he seemed pretty excited with the results.
Yeah, Luke Gardner finished 4th overall, fired a 71 and a 73 for a 2-over. That was good for 4th place. And Will Dugan, is that how you say Dugan? Dougal?
I do not know.
I am sorry, Will, if you're listening. I need to learn how to pronounce your last name, but you came in 9th place, back-to-back 74s for a 6-over. Coming up next, actually, for the men and the women. The women's golf team had the week off, but they will get back into action, as well as the men, at the MBU Invitational. That is next Monday and Tuesday over at Spencer T. Olin Golf Course over in Alton, Illinois. Let's talk about soccer. Men's soccer, a tie and a loss this week. The tie comes at CMU. That was on Wednesday. And then a 5-3 defeat at the hands of Park on Saturday.
Yeah, and that was a really hard defeat, too, because at that halfway point during that match, they were up 2-1. And, of course, Park just kind of figured it out, put 4 more in the back of the net, and came away with that 5-2 victory.
Yeah, men's soccer, 2 wins, 5 defeats, and 3 draws so far on the season. The women, they had a rough week. A couple of losses. CMU women's team is always really, really good. So women's soccer falls 5-0 to them Wednesday in Fayette, Missouri. And then over the weekend, a 4-0 loss at the hands of Park University. So outscored 9-0 on the week. And women's soccer now with 3 wins, 7 losses, and a draw on the season. As I think both teams really, at Jackson, figuring out that, especially in heart play, we talked about, women's soccer and how they really challenged themselves early. We talked with Dino Merrick about that. With their schedule, but even when they get into Heart of America play, it's a different level now than it used to be in the AMC. That's for sure.
Yeah, we talked about it early there, and this goes across the conference and in pretty much every other sport. You don't have those throwaway matches. Obviously the Heart extremely competitive, so you're not going to get an easy match. The women had their easier matches to start out, getting in some good spot with the points and in the ratings. But we knew that when they were going to take on some, a Missouri Valley, who they took on last year with a pretty troubling result, when they went into the CMUs and the Parks, that it was going to be a challenge.
hmm Yeah, and it was obviously for both of them. So mentioned men outscored 5-3 on the week. Women outscored 9-0 in those two games, and both of them will get back to take a trip to Lamoni, Iowa on Saturday. Graceland will be the opponent, 5 o'clock. I believe the women's game goes first at 5 o'clock, and then the men will follow at 7:30 on Saturday up in Iowa. Let's move on, talk a little bit about women's volleyball. And it's tough to say, kind of a down week for them. They do beat CMU for the second time this year. This one was on Thursday up in Fayette. And then they come home on Saturday, supposed to host Lindsey Wilson and Governor State. Governor State backs out. Had a situation there where they weren't able to come here and play on Saturday, and the women's volleyball team falls to Lindsey Wilson, who is receiving votes in 4 sets. So kind of a tough result for them this week.
Which honestly was really surprising. They come out of the gate really tough. They take that first set and they just kind of let Lindsey Wilson, crawl back. Obviously, some injuries were probably the biggest contributing factor to being out of system later in that match. But still, you've got to be able to bounce back with adversity. But every time we had a momentum shift, we would let Lindsey Wilson get back on top.
Yeah, it just felt like something was off. The injury that you're talking about, of course, Valentina Navarro, the starting setter, goes out in that first set. They win the first set, but you know, setter is kind of like a quarterback in football. If your setter is not good, and I'm not saying their backup setter is bad, but when you change quarterbacks or you change, just the slightest little thing in a set, is it in a slightly different spot? Is it a little higher? Is it a little lower? Is it more direction? All of those things, having to adjust to it. And I think we saw that kind of play out because, there was just something a little bit off about the team on Saturday.
Yeah, and it was really hard to watch.
hmm
I remember sitting there on the sideline, not really sure what they could do to bounce back in such a short amount of time. But things don't always go your way on the court.
Yeah, I want to talk briefly about that CMU game. Alana Capella, 14 kills. Alina Arsoff had 8 kills, 2 service aces, and 9 digs. So she did a little bit of everything. And credit to her. I mean, she's not getting the playing time that she had in the past, but when called upon, especially against CMU in a very tough 5-set match, she delivered for this team. And so that's really, not just Alina in particular, but the bench strength of Missouri Baptist has to step up every once in a while, and that's a night that, among others, Alina did in that win over CMU.
Yeah, and that was a 5-set thriller. They went over to Fayette. We hosted them here. We took the sweep, and that showed a little bit more resilience out of that MBU squad. So, gonna have to bounce back as they take a little bit of a trip down Conway tomorrow night.
Conway Clash tomorrow night. Maryville on the docket, 6 p.m. is the first serve in that one. And then on Saturday, they make a trip to Marshall, Missouri, take on Missouri Valley. And they're going to play that late, actually, 7 o'clock on Saturday night for women's volleyball. I'm guessing, I didn't look at it, but I'm guessing MoVal might be hosting football, so it kind of pushed everything back. But yeah, late start in Marshall, Missouri on Saturday night for women's volleyball, who are now 15-4 on the season. Until the new poll comes out, they'll remain number 10. But we do expect, based on that result against Lindsey Wilson, they may fall. And then obviously the loss last week as well. So, kind of middling ground. It's never easy to win, and especially when some of your players underperform and you have injuries and things like that, that can happen. So, Let's talk briefly as we look forward a little bit. We'll talk football in a second, but cross country had the week off. They'll be at the Seminole Valley Stampede up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's going to happen on Saturday morning. I think that's all the sports except for the big one. We always save, almost always save football for last. And what a game against Mid-America Nazarene on Saturday. The boys come up a little bit short, 41-39. I know Guy Danhoff has already done the coaches show for this week, and you can tune into that on YouTube to get all of that breakdown. But I just want to give you an opportunity to say, Jackson, a few words about that game on Saturday against Mid-America Naz.
I mean, it was a throwing.
It was.
I was on the edge of my seat for most of that second half. We go down in that first half, and we decide that we're finally going to answer. We didn't see this in that Graceland game.
Yep.
And continuing to figure out the things. Like I don't know what coach said. I don't know what lit a fire under our guys' rear ends, but they went out there, they played hard, they played till the last minute, but unfortunately that comeback just started a little too late.
Yeah, 29 points in the second half, and they end up just a 2-point loss, 41-39 to the number 23 team in the country. So they battled, came up a little short. Now 1-3 on the season, and it definitely does not get any easier because the Benedictine Ravens will be the opponent here at Spartan Field on Saturday at 1:00. And so hopefully, Jackson, the momentum, if you have momentum after a loss, hopefully that momentum or that competitive fire carries forward to this Saturday.
I mean, they've got nothing to lose. That's how they have to play. You can't afford to take. It's a tough team. They're going to play the number 3 team in the country. Nobody's expecting them, right, to pull off the upset right now,
right?
Except internally MBU is. So they need to go out there and play like they've got nothing to lose. Benedictine, they're a tough squad. They're big, and that's what's going to be the biggest thing for us. Is like they're bigger, they're a lot older. They're not exactly where they were last year, but they're still a tough team.
They're number 3 in the country, dude. I think they're exactly where they were last year.
I don't know. From what I've looked at, it looks like everybody lost just a little bit, but
we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah. And that one last thing about the Mid-America Nazarene game as far as MBU football is concerned, definitely you can tell, and it wasn't Jason throwing anyone under the bus at all, but coming out of that Graceland game that, was stopped early and we had already given up, 500 yards of offense through 3 quarters when they called it off. And he basically just said, yeah, that's what's going to happen when you don't do what your coaches tell you to do, especially defensively. So that was the message coming out of the Graceland game. And yes, you gave up 41 points to Mid-America Nazarene, but I would venture to say Mid-America Nazarene is a more high-powered team than Graceland is. You gave up 41 points, but you were also right in that game. So I think there's a learning curve that's happening with the football team as well that we could see evident. Both of them losses, but that one on Saturday was a little bit different.
Yeah, no, and like you said, it's a learning curve, and they're looking to come back. But you said it exactly. Graceland. I mean, I hate to say that the proof is out there, but they fell to Clark this weekend. So like, maybe Graceland isn't nearly as much of a team that we should have given them nearly as much credit as we did.
We beat Clark and then got blown out. Let's face it, to Graceland, So it's it happens. So, all right, I think, did we cover all the sports? There's so many sports here, Jackson. I think we got them all. I think we got them all. And if we didn't, I'm sure we're going to hear about it. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a break. When we come back, longtime men's and women's golf coach Justin Hoagland will be our guest. Stick around. You're listening to the Spartan Up Podcast. And welcome back to the Spartan Up Podcast, now joined by Justin Hoagland, the men's and women's head golf coach here at Missouri Baptist. And welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. And just talk a little bit about, I know this is kind of like a broad question to get it started, but Talk a little bit about the state of the program. Let's talk about the men's side. You guys are coming off a pretty good performance last week, finishing fourth out of 21 teams up in Illinois. So just tell us a little bit about how the fall season is going so far for the men.
Yes, St. Ambrose University hosts the Midwest Invitational there, and we've gone there for 10 or 12 years now. We've had some good finishes, had two of my guys in the past that have won it on 3 different occasions. So that's a kind of a staple fall event for us. The players love going there. I don't intend not to keep that from happening. So obviously, it's a PGA Tour type golf course. It brings out the best in every player. Especially if you're reliant upon only 4 scores, if you don't have a 5th score like we had this time around, but we had a really good event this time, almost knocking off Marion, who's won it before. But we're playing it just about 200 yards from where the PGA Tour pros play it. So you got to knock it long in certain places, but as far as the program goes, right now we got 17 guys on the team, biggest team I've ever had. Just a mix of good international players and national guys. A couple new faces that we've seen coming in for this fall, and really excited about those who have JUCO experience and good tournament experience. So we're excited about that end right now. Off to a good start. Started at UMSL over here at Gateway National a couple weeks back, and start 1st of September, 2nd of September. Had a decent finish there. Didn't have really high expectations there because of the nature of being NCAA. You expect that the home team's going to win that one.
Yeah,
they handle it.
You guys were the only NAIA program in that tournament, actually.
We were a last-minute addition to it because of the team bowing out, and I got a call from the coaching staff there, one of which is a really good friend of mine and is a PGA professional, and so they asked us to come in and take it. So I took it. Yeah. I've always wanted to play it. It's the Arch Cup, and so hopefully we can go back. If not, I understand, but we had a good time there. And then, of course, this was our second one at Deer Run last week. So a couple events for the guys in September, one for the girls in September, and then we'll just pack it on in October here with the Free Straight coming up.
Yeah, talk a little bit about the women's team. A little bit smaller crew on the women's side than you have on the men's side.
Typically a smaller crew for sure. Each year we're trying to make that different move forward, of course. But we have a couple international players that are still on the team, and then 4 other players. So we had 5 in the first event that we had at Missouri Valley. And we'll take those 5 to our home event coming up next week at Spencer Teal and in Alton, of which we'll host. So a small team, our scoring average right now is not where we want it to be, of course, but we hope the tide turns with our resources and a new golf course, new practice facility at Tapawingo National. So we're excited about that, utilizing play and practice at different venues, but that one primarily our main one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, go back to the men's side, talk about a lot of those new faces that we are seeing on the course and some of them who have been stepping up early in the season.
Yeah. So, the first one, we have a couple of several new faces, one from the Netherlands, the Otero College. He's not my top 5 yet, but he's working on it. We expect some good things out of him. Baron Vinkers comes from Otero College out in Colorado. Also, a couple of actually they're close friends from the Farmington area. One from Mineral Area College. It's Will Dugal. Will's a junior. He comes off a junior college experience with a lot of wins, really in the JUCO level. A really solid player. Fitting for a set of golf clubs last night, as a matter of fact. So, but a really solid player. His good friend Ruder Govero is a freshman. Real excited about his abilities in coming on board. And then we have some brand new freshman faces that are going through qualifying, and we'll see how they work out moving forward. So. those are the main ones I would say as far as who we've seen qualify with the best scores so far. But I've got some good hopes for the other guys as well.
So much of what we talk about, obviously, here at MBU is a move into the Heart of America Conference, and golf is a little bit different in that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but with golf, you're more competing against yourself and your own personal best score than you are like, hey, we're really, you know, playing defense or something against William Penn or something. Golf is a game that's really sort of individual and a team perspective. So moving to a new conference is pretty much how do we compare? It's not necessarily how do we game plan against opponents. Would that be correct, do you think?
Well, you can game plan all you want to as far as what the other teams are capable of. You know their scoring averages, you know their histories, and what what events they're typically playing good at. But golf is such a fluid game, and rosters change all the time, as all sports do. But it is an individual sport, and you're playing the golf course. We can't compare to what the other teams are doing. Now we do have live scoring now, which makes it interesting.
Right.
Makes it very
It
interesting.
can be motivating.
Can be very motivating.
Yeah.
And the players have to have their iPhones charged and last for 5.5 hours. That can be a challenge, or longer. But from a coaching standpoint, it really is where things are going. I mean, you're going to see live scoring everywhere really soon. It's almost there, including our event. But so you get to check the pulse of your players without having to be everywhere at any given time on the golf course. So it's really interesting how that works. You can be on a really high to start a round, and that can really dip really quick if you're not holding your own over the course of the round. So, how we compare in the Heart of America, I'm optimistic about that. We did beat some teams at TPC Deer Run that are in our conference, so that we've not had the greatest success with events in the past. So with the fourth place finisher. So, and by the way, I did fail to mention one of the other players, and he's a freshman from Argentina, Pedro Cordova. He's in my top 5. He's my number 3 guy. So he's off to a good start.
That was actually the guy that popped in my head when I was asking that question. He's a very tough.
Are we bothering you, Jackson?
No, my boss Tyler Andrews keeps calling me, so may need to shoot him a text in the middle.
So while he's shooting off that text, why should you can take this any direction you want. Why should we be excited? Why should everyone be excited about the future of MBU golf? You think?
Well, I think, apart from golf being a very exciting sport right now, for obvious reasons, when you watch the Ryder Cup and you watch all the personalities out there, I think the game's in a good state. But I think that what athletes are looking for, they're looking for, and one of the questions that I get a lot when I'm recruiting is, what's it look like on a day-to-day basis? Where do you guys practice? How often do you practice? And so I think that, and I'll go back to, and this is accolades to our staff and Jeff for really being out and getting this nailed down at Tapawingo for where we practice. I think that's a real juggernaut with where we can take this, among other facilities that we use. So, I think that the players, it's important when I recruit that the players know that when they come on board that they're going to be coming on board a team that has players with like-mindedness and players that are just really, really fun to be around.
Yeah.
They like their golf. They like they like competing against each other. We have contests all the time against each other, whether it's on the golf course or in practice. So I just promoting a field of practice and play that really makes them look forward to it.
Sure.
So I think that's a kind of a separating factor. I'm sure other teams do that as well, but and why not be in the heart of St. Louis when you want to be at a university that's on the rise, right? So I think that's where we are right now.
So you mentioned, well, I just have 2 questions left and we'll wrap this up. You mentioned Ryder Cup. What went wrong for us? Break it down for us. Ryder Cup, what do you think? 2 minutes, maybe 1.
2 minutes. Well, we get behind too early, and our crowd didn't do us any favor.
Right. They thought they did.
Well,
They
no, they didn't. It's unbecoming of the climate in sports these days has just gotten off the rails, in my opinion, and how the athletes react, I completely understand to a degree. They have to rise above that.
Mm-hmm.
But largely, I think that I was just telling somebody in our coaches meeting today, with the tennis coach, I was telling Scott Goodyear, it's hard to say that we don't care. I don't think that's it, but I do think that it's kind of bred in that expectation is that we're not going to perform how we should. Look, European players. If you asked European players growing up what are their goals over time in their golf career, and they're going to tell you Ryder Cup.
Yeah, winning the Ryder
Cup.
Yeah.
Want to be part of the Ryder Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you asked a United States player, typically, the response is going to be, I want to win the Masters or the U.S. Open, but Ryder Cup's down the list, probably 5 or 6. And so that mentality, unless it changes, may not, we've won far more Ryder Cups than they have, but in the modern era, it's a different story. Unfortunately, we were far too far behind on Sunday, but they did make it very interesting.
Yeah, it did.
The energy level on a per player basis, we got 1 or 2 guys that give the rah-rah. You got Bryson DeChambeau and you got Justin Thomas, and throw one maybe more in there, but you've got all 12 of these guys on the other side that it's hard not to root for.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I had it on me, I'd have laid $100 bill down that he was going to make the last putt. Shane Lowry was going to make the last play. Yeah, I didn't think that wasn't going in.
Right. Yeah.
Something about it, but it did. Yeah, so goes next time.
Yeah. Awesome. 2 more years, we'll have another chance.
Yeah.
So, and this will be our final question. Every time that we do these, the final question that we ask, and again, you can take this any direction that you want. If you were not a golf coach, what would you be doing right now? And I'm going to take away golf tech too, because I know take that out altogether. If you weren't coaching golf or, an instructor, maybe you would be playing somewhere, but if you weren't coaching golf at MBU or in your employment, what would you be doing with your life right now, Justin?
If I went in the golf business?
Yes.
I have a passion for gospel music.
Okay.
I sing gospel music for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I would probably be on the road singing.
Touring the country. Gospel music.
You didn't know that.
No, that is so awesome. Oh my gosh. I would have loved,
Southern gospel music.
yeah, I could imagine. Well, do you get to this? I'm being more ignorant. Do you wear like the alb when you sing?
You got to wear the alb.
You got to wear the alb, right?
You got to wear the alb.
I mean, it's all like, oh my gosh, I just didn't know that.
So we could sit and talk about this for a while. I've recorded in Nashville. I performed in Vegas. I could go into detail about it. But
Could you just a little bit?
sure. Yeah.
And now everyone should see Jackson's face, right? It's like blown away. He's like, oh,
Jaws on the
yeah, I know, seriously. So yeah, a little bit about your gospel music background, Justin.
Well, it's twofold, really. My growing up, I grew up not knowing how to sing, really. In high school, I'd watch other singers in Southern gospel music, the Cathedrals, Gold City, and some other groups, and my twin brother and I have a twin brother, and 2 other friends. We had our own quartet, but we didn't sing. We lip sing. So we pantomimed it. And that's how we started. But we did a gospel side of it and did gospel music in churches on that, and we would pantomime the Cathedral Quartet. Are you familiar with who they are?
No, I'm not.
Okay, look them up. They're icons in the Southern gospel industry.
Okay.
The group that anybody that follows, and they're the Rolling Stones, if you will, of Southern gospel.
Okay.
And they're no longer, but. And then on the other side of it, we also had, and we started this in 1987, 88, a comedy routine that we took to Vegas. And that was, we would call the Stevens Brothers. Heard of Ray Stevens before?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. We pantomimed Ray Stevens. Gosh. I was Ray. My two sidekicks were my brother and our best friend.
Jackson is
And
freaking out right now.
We took that to a national stage, and we would do gigs all the time throughout the year, churches, fall festivals, birthday parties, you name it. And when it started going, this was, we got so busy, we had to charge people. So they'd say, well, how much you charge? We'd say, well, it first started out when it was 1988, or 14 years old at the time, or so, 15. And it was like, okay, $30. That's 10 for each other. And then it went to 60. Then it went to 90. And then all of a sudden we were like, all right, let's see where this goes. And we didn't make a bunch of money off. I'm not saying that at all, but it was very fun. Took it to Las Vegas in 1995 in a national talent contest called Starmania. Let's call it a step below Star Search. Remember Star Search?
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture sometime of my mother took a picture of us on stage. Okay, now get this. We made it to the final. And we lose the final by one vote to a group who now, a group called the Hughes Brothers. If you go to Branson,
Theater own show.
Theater.
Yep.
Okay. The Hughes Brothers Theater. Okay. They beat us by one vote. Now they actually sang.
Yeah.
And you know what the award was if you won the thing? A recording contract. So put two and two together.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing Ray Stevens' song. The song that we actually did on the main stage at the Aladdin Hotel at the Tonight Show stage was The Streak. Now, I'll let you Google that. It's not us on there, but Google The Streak with Ray Stevens. It's one of his top hits, but we pulled it off. But right after that, this has been 30 years. 30 years ago this June, they got their Branson acts. Now, who knows what that worked out for us had we won? I don't know. I competed there as a soloist as well, singing. I think I sang Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA. But the group, when you look at the picture, and I'll pull it up when we have time, you'll love the picture. On stage. My twin brother's got a banjo, which he's not playing. He's miming the whole thing. And we've got judges on the front row.
Yeah.
The judges on the front row were just losing these. And so there's one of my brother or a friend, one of us has it, and we don't know where it is. Over the years we've lost it, but there's a VHS tape that we got of it. Nice. To this day, I wish I knew what it was, but I don't. Of the act.
That's awesome.
Now, we took that act from 87 to our last one we did as a group was 2000. But to this day, I still do those gigs.
That's awesome.
My brother has done them several times when we were apart for several years, but I had a gig at his church a Sunday night. I was actually singing. I didn't know the singing. It has 6 or 7 songs I did. before the evangelist got up there. But yeah, that's something that dog won't die. For some reason, that dog won't die. But we enjoyed it.
Jackson is his face. Just that's enough right there. He's blown away by all
That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard.
I'll tell you, this generation, you know, if I were to be in front of college kids doing this, it doesn't resonate.
Yeah.
With that crowd as much.
Mm-hmm.
We did lip sync contests all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were hometown known for this act in Northern Hall. And so when I get time, I'll show you some memories on this, and you'll like it. It's fun to replay those in my mind and still do it, right? And Ray Stevens is still live. He's as of this year, 84 years old, I think he is. He's got the Cabernet in Nashville, Cabaret, his studio where he does his TV shows, but he's selling it. He's pretty much done.
Yeah.
It's kind of get off the air in his case.
That is the multi-talented Justin Hoagland. We really appreciate the time, Justin. You're welcome. That is Justin Hoagland, head
There's
men's and women's. What's that?
There's multiple sides.
Who knew?
People,
Who knew?
I didn't know. I did not know.
All right, we'll be back with a little bit more here on the Spartan Up Podcast in just a minute.
These days I'm amazed at what I hear in the news. Can't believe what they're doing to our red, white, and blue. And when they burn Old Glory and lights a flame under us, and it's time for folks like you and me to say that's enough. If it wasn't for flag wavers, the doers and the prayers, you wouldn't have the right to say what you think is wrong. We remember the givers, not the takers. They gave their life to save her, and it's flag wavers that keep this country strong.
Back to wrap it up on the Spartan Up Podcast with Jackson Bast. I'm Kevin Paulus, and Jackson, it's our favorite time of the year, at least our year. The show anyway, at least for me, and we talk about what are we most excited about this week as far as MBU athletics is concerned. You can go first.
You know, I'm sure everybody's always expecting us to say football, but honestly, I'm the most excited for Wednesday night over at Maryville University.
Goal line again.
I know it, but it's always a thriller. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. If you're not at Maryville University on Wednesday night at 7 p.m.
6 o'clock, of
6
course.
p.m.
Yes.
Of course, yes.
Mhm.
6 p.m. I don't know what you're doing, because that is going to be some electric volleyball.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. D2 program in Maryville against our girls who, let's face it, are, until this year or until this week. Why do I keep saying year, Jackson? Until this week, number 10 in the country will be going into that matchup as well, because I don't think the new poll comes out. Maybe it does. I don't know. Anyway, but it will be a great atmosphere down Conway Avenue, the Conway Clash between Maryville and Missouri Baptist. And since you stole mine, I'm gonna go off the grid a little bit, since we just talked to Justin. I'm gonna give him a little bit of love as far as men's and women's golf, because by the time we record the show next week, they will be right in the middle of the MBU Invitational, which is one of two tournaments that the golf program is going to host this year. That one's over at Spencer T. Olin, and I know Justin, talked about some of the thing kind of in passing in our interview, but they're really trying to raise the game as far as that invitational is concerned. Some of the nice touches, some of the course decorations and the scoring and he's really trying to make this sort of an event that a lot of programs want to come to and a lot of programs want to play in. So that's actually what I'm looking forward to. And let's face it, I mean, our men did very well last week in the NAIA National Preview, and hosting a tournament on their quote unquote home course up until a couple of months ago. That was our home course before the agreement with Tapawingo. I'm excited to see how that all goes, so it should be interesting to see how men's and women's golf fares in the MBU Invitational at Spencer Teolin on next Monday and Tuesday. Any final thoughts, Jackson? I know you have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, but anything worth sharing with both of the people that are probably going to listen to this podcast at this point?
Yes. Hi, Mom.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, I know.
She's one of the two that probably listen to this
Probably.
podcast. I'm probably the other one, but anyway, that's going to do it here for the Spartan Up Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Let's get some more listenership, if you will, for the Spartan Up Podcast. We'll be back with you next week. Thanks for listening to the Spartan Up Podcast.